Hey everybody, ronarray here, and I've been playing Absolution Guardian since the league start. It was a very smooth progression and the build felt pretty great. So today I wanted to showcase the final Uber version of the build. The damage now is absolutely great. It is about 121 million without Val Absolution Guardian, and even more with Absolution Guardian, which allow us to clear all content pretty fast. Tankiness is also very high, build has 200k HP without Molten Shell, cap block, life recovery on block, fortify stacks, and decent regeneration too. For speed we have Perma Onslaught plus Haste Aura to make sure maps are not a slog, which works great with automated convocation and huge AoE that Val Absolution Guardian is providing. And all of that without the Mageblood too. So now, let's look deeper at the Uber setup, how it works and how you can build it yourself. In this video, I will answer most of the common questions you might have about it as well. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you appreciate the updates or enjoyed playing the build in general. And let's go! So now, let's talk about what making that version different from the previous ones. And the first thing is Spectres and auras in general. So at the moment I'm using 5 Spectres, and to achieve that we're using the Spectres right now in our body armor. So here we have a Rise Spectre Gem level 21 with +4 levels from global modifiers. If you don't have +4 from global modifiers, mostly from your Amulet, I recommend to just drop Summon Stone Golem and use Empower in your body armor instead for the last Spectre. And right here, for the Spectres, we are going to use Congregation support, which is going to give us +1 additional Spectre. And together with the basic gem, which is having 3, we're getting +1 from Congregation, and we can also get +1 from Death Atonement. I'm currently running Perfect Pain Artist for a Zealotry and also 30% critical strike multiplier for our minions. I'm also still using the Onslaught Spectre like Perfect Forest Warrior, it's giving Culling Strike and Onslaught just to be faster in maps. I'm also using Perfect Spirit of Fortune for free Wrath aura, because I'm not using Wrath myself at the moment. And Baronite Cleric is also absolutely amazing with 20% of physical damage gained as Lightning. And the last Spectre, only if you have a budget for it, is a Perfect Forest Tiger. It's giving us Haste Aura together with Charge Generation. If you don't have a budget for Perfect Forest Tiger, you can just use a Chieftain Monkey instead to generate charges. Or if you don't have +4 from global modifiers on your Spectres, you can just drop the Tiger completely and play with 4 Spectres that I mentioned first. But those Spectres are mandatory because we changed how auras currently operate. That leads us to a second big thing in that build is the helmet. I did a video how to craft that helmet. There's like a budget version and expensive version for that craft. But helmet in general is better than just having 6 link in your body armor instead. So helmet gives us hypothermia, which is going to get us additional damage if the enemy is chilled. So to apply that chill, we're using Skitter Bots, and for the rest of auras it's obviously Purity of Fire. I'm also using Flesh and Stone in the stand to just survive better, and Tempest Shield is helping out to protect us against shock and maximize our block spell chance. Since we moved our main skill to helmet, we have Absolution here, increase crit damage, physical to lightning, and greater spell echo. Greater spell echo is another good bonus that is definitely worth it at the moment, so make sure to get it. Next step after the helmet is Focused Amulet. So Focused Amulet is a very good replacement for a basic Dragonfang. It's given only +1 level on top, but I still recommend to get it if you have the budget. If you don't, you can just keep playing with Dragonfang. And the next question is Mageblood. So a lot of people are asking, is there a big point to use a Mageblood in the build? And generally, I would say that yes. At the moment I'm using Darkness Enthroned still, but at any moment you can just take the Mageblood, here's mine, and equip it and use it with basic setup of Flask. I'm going to leave the path of building with a Mageblood version in the guide as well, in case that you might need it. I think the Mageblood version is tankier, but the upside itself is not really too big compared to a non-Mageblood version, so if you don't have the budget, that's probably one of the last items that you need to buy. And the next question is Svalinn. A lot of people are asking, can we use Svalinn instead of the Dawnbreaker? And at the moment, I believe that Dawnbreaker providing better survivability, mostly because it's helping us out against the lightning damage, which is usually the biggest issue with survivability. If you feel like your mapping could be improved a little further, replacing Dawnbreaker with Svalinn, if you have the budget, is a solid option. And another great question is what to do if your minions are dying. And generally your minions should be pretty tanky, especially since we have a minion life support together right here in the setup with Spectres, in the setup with Golem, and Annimate Guardian I'm also using the Mirage one with supported by level 1 mid shield. If in the future it will not be available, just use a normal level 21 Annimate Guardian. But to make your minions survive better, there is a very good option in your tree. You can spend points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and get Decay Ward. It's going to give your minions a very decent 30% chance to block stuff. And they're also going to recover life when they're blocking, which is absolutely awesome for their survivability. So use that in case if your minions are dying. And getting the rings with minion has plus to all elemental resistances is also helping a lot. Now let's talk a little about Ascendancy and the tree. At the moment, I'm still using Priest of Yamak for almost 100% of uptime of Val Absolution. At the moment, I'm not using Corruption Embrace just because I don't have enough corrupted items and my items are usually pretty good, so it's harder to get corruption versions. If you don't have corrupted items, I definitely don't recommend to go for Embrace, so you can just take Priest of Yamak and call that a day. In the general Ascendancy, you don't really need Unwavering Crusade because you're going to get your Wrath from your Spectres. Instead, just go to Unwavering Faith to save some points and use all the auras without investing anything in the reservation efficiency in your tree. So for the general tree, at my Amulet I'm currently allocating Tetsudo, because Tetsudo can help us a lot with additional block and provide a very important bonus, which is recover 30% of life when you block. So since your block should be like 75 for attacks and 78 for spell damage, I think it's very important to make sure that you're recovering some life with this. And to get that block, getting just Tetsudo and all possible points for the block right here and here usually should be enough, together with the basic shield by itself, like 25% chance to block, and your Tempest shield as well. In terms of clusters, I'm currently using 2 clusters with just like Grand Spectrums. They're mostly providing like additional damage for minions and chaos resistance, so nothing else here is important. So one of the questions is how to fight bosses properly. When you're fighting Ubers, I recommend to wait until your Val Absolution is up, because you will be able to cast it faster and it will improve your damage significantly. So just wait until you get it up, and after that you can go fight the boss. And for Animated Guardian, that's pretty much the set that I'm using. So Kingmaker, worth it just for damage, Culling Strike and Fortification. I'm using also Garb of Ephemeral because it's going to protect us against crits and we will be unable to get slowed. I think Athena together with Wind Scream is absolutely mandatory for clear, so make sure to get both. And Glimpse of Chaos with nearby enemies have Malediction, in my opinion worth it if your Guardian is surviving well. Look at the previous tips in that video that I gave in terms of how to make your minions survive better if your Guardian is dying too often. But generally that's the setup that I'm using and can recommend at the moment. So here is the path of building for the current version that I'm using. And keep in mind that those are Spectre auras, as I already mentioned, so Zealotry, Wrath and Haste coming from Spectres. So you don't need Dexterity, it shows me Dexterity required because of the Haste aura, but you don't need it because that's a free aura from your Spectre. We have about 121 million of DPS approximately with Triple Absolution, but without the Val Absolution, so in game it should be a little higher. But please keep in mind that there's a little ramp up for your damage, especially when you're doing bosses, because you need to hit the boss until you will summon your sentinels. And it usually takes a little longer. Now, let's talk a little about the modifiers that I'm using. So right here we have a lot of custom modifiers at the moment, just to showcase the Spectres. So Wrath has no reservation, Haste has no reservation, and Zealotry has no reservation. All those are like free auras. They're getting nearby allies damage with hits as lucky. It's coming from our Spirit, which is providing like Wrath. Nearby allies have 30% critical strike multiplier coming from the Spectres that's giving Zealotry, and minions gain 20% of physical's extra lightning is a Baronite cleric. So for Animated Guardian, we're getting Malediction from the helmet, Culling Strike, 50% to critical strike multiplier from the weapon, and we're also getting our 10 stacks of fortification right here. Frenzy charges are coming from the tankier, because it's generating it when it's hitting the enemy. We also have Onslaught from our Spectres as well. And as the gods, I'm using Brain King and Shakari. Feeding Frenzy should be active, and buffs from Spectres as well. So the rest of the setup is pretty much obvious. The only change that you might do, so instead of critical damage, you can use increased critical strike chances for your Absolution. Check on your path of building if it's working better for you, or if it's not working better for you. And the only flask I have activated right here is Bottle Faith. It's providing a pretty decent amount of damage, it's about 10%, so if you have a lot of budget, make sure you're getting it. And for the Mageblood, it's going to be the same, but Bottled Faith is probably going to repeat Eternal Life, and the rest is just going to be Defensive Flask, which can improve our defenses even further. So, and as a finishing touch, let's talk about the items and priority. The biggest priority in the Uber version is the helmet. Crafting the helmet is pretty important for your damage. After that comes the Amulet, which is pretty nice by itself, even if you're repicking it. Belt could be any, and for the body armor, I currently recommend to get all maximum resistances and reduce chaos damage taken. If you can get the armor with both of them, go for one, so either maximum resistances or chaos damage taken. Both are going to work just fine. For the rings, you just need minus resistances to lightning. If you can get some minion damage, it will be perfect. If you don't worry much about it, because you already have tremendous damage. And rings and boots are practically staying in the same fashion as the wand. So no changes in there. For the clusters, I'm currently running a cluster just like with chaos resistance, but you can get life instead of chaos resistance, so you will survive better. In general, I recommend to get at least 4,400 life to survive properly, and make sure that you have block as well, and it's always up. Getting more regeneration from your golem, and if you have a 1545 Glorious Vanity, I believe taking like Ritual of Flesh for life regeneration is also going to boost your survivability. But overall, the build at the moment should be able to farm absolutely everything, even if you're missing some items. Thank you very much for watching, and hope you enjoyed running this league with Absolution, or will enjoy it in the future if you will decide to try that build. See you next time, and ronarray out.